Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, I know I procrastinate so much in doing these humorous mode episodes on Book Revolution. But anyway, week number 20, we're finally here. The go home show for ECW, the final ECW before the SummerSlam pay-per-view. We still need to do SmackDown and NXT, but besides that, as announced in your last episode of ECW, triple threat for the ECW Women's Championship, Sonya Deville defense against Lita and Asuka. There's been some history between Lita and Asuka in the past. They settled it out once again in a triple threat to see who becomes Women's Champion. And since Chris Jericho has been number one contender for the title for a while, he takes on Neville for the lightweight championship here on ECW. Since this is the go-home show for ECW, and since the ECW Women's Championship and the ECW Lightweight Championship will not be defended at SummerSlam, it's a good use for the go-home show to make them be defended here. Anyway, Chris Masters and Daniel Bryan, we shall see who wins this one. Masters, he was build up hype in his matchup. Well, he was build up hype last week to have a matchup, and he loses his matchup. Bryan wins. Kenny Omega non-title contest against RVD. Can Omega get momentum before SummerSlam? And he does not. RVD takes down the Hardcore Champion's momentum before SummerSlam. That's a little bit surprising. And can Braun Strowman get momentum before his ECW title match at SummerSlam? Yes, he does, because he defeats Sabu. Good thing he does. So, Strowman defeats Sabu. He gets more momentum, headed towards the SummerSlam pay-per-view, in which he challenges ECW champion Minoru Suzuki. Along with Omega, he defends his Hardcore Championship against Wade Barrett at SummerSlam. But next week, win or lose, Lita, she takes on Velvet Sky, because Velvet Sky doesn't really have all that much matches here in ECW, so she will finally have a matchup here in ECW, and that'll be next week. So win or lose, Lita, either way, she still faces off against Velvet Sky in the next episode of ECW. But who knows, it could be Lita as the new ECW Women's Champion. And if Velvet Sky is to defeat Lita, if Lita does win the title here tonight, then who knows, she could probably get future title opportunity in the non-title contest. That's if Lita even wins this matchup to begin with. So Asuka already in the ring. Now Lita. These two women, they've had multiple one-on-one matches in the past. I can't remember who's actually won the most. I believe Lita and Asuka both have had 3 or 4 matches against each other. So yeah, this is how we end it off. This is how we end off the whole match series between Lita and Asuka in a triple threat where we add in our women's champion. The first are ECW Women's Champion, which is Sonya Deville, defeated the whole every other woman on ECW to win that back at a live event. The monthly live event, whenever I actually did that. So yeah. And of course, main event, ladies and gentlemen, lightweight championship on the line. Neville, he defends it against Chris Jericho a couple weeks back. And by couple weeks back, I mean wise of the week counter. Because not in real life, because in real life, it'll be more like a couple of months back, let's be honest. Because this is week 20. Yeah, and then compared to like some other weeks, like Raw, week 19 and week 20 are split up by a month. So yeah, it's not good to represent. But I believe in ECW week 17 or week 16 perhaps, Jericho, he did become number one contender. He became number one contender along the lines after the King of the Ring tournament, or before the King of the Ring tournament, which was in week 14, I think, was it? Or it was before week 18, I don't know. Well, whenever the King of the Ring tournament was, that's what happened, yeah. Yeah, week 16, so like before week 16 or slightly after week 16, Jericho became the one contender, so now he finally gets the title opportunity. For go-home shows, we're just going to be doing this for each brand. The titles that are not going to be defended at the pay-per-view, since all of them are going to be joint branded pay-per-views now. The next pay-per-view after SummerSlam is Survivor Series, so that is definitely going to be very exciting. But, for example, Raw, the Raw tag titles are not going to be defended at SummerSlam, and so which is why we had a tag title matchup on Raw in the last episode of Humorous Mode between the Hardy Boys and the Brothers of Destruction. So yeah, and SmackDown, the United States Championship will not be defended at the SummerSlam pay-per-view, so it will perhaps get defended in the go-home show. So yeah, that's gonna happen. As I slightly start to lose my voice now, so I'm really trying to create some separation. She is the Women's Champion, but that doesn't mean she doesn't even have to get pinned or submitted in this matchup. Triple threat rules apply, of course. So it's not going to be a fair advantage. I see there an explosion. Both Lita and Sonya Deville go flying. Asuka pretty much stays there. Lita, the only one who is actually standing up now with the fire extinguisher. Asuka gonna try to take control here, only a 1 count. And now Asuka has Sonya Deville into the, well, Snapmare into like the water bottle there. Not sure if that was effective at all or not, but whatever. So now both Lita and Asuka, while they do have history, they could just end up teaming up against Sonya Deville. Asuka with the kick on Lita, and Sonya Deville steals the victory. Okay, that's a quick matchup. This is why ECW is not even a good brand here, let's be honest. Okay, wow. That happened. So that was quick. Sonya Deville still is the women's champion, ladies and gentlemen. Ah, man, wow. Asuka just like a whole kick, a humongous kick on Lita. Lita goes flying. If Asuka was to pin Lita, then Asuka pulls off another 1-up on Lita, like she has in the one-on-one series that they had, the multiple matches that they have had before. But Sonya Deville was just at the right moment, right place, right time, I guess. Asuka was occupied trying to set something up with the steel steps, and Sonya Deville steals the victory, pins Lita, and that's not a good mindset for Lita to go into when she faces off against Fellow Sky next week. But yeah, anyway, main event now. Jericho throwing the microphone at Neville. Gonna try to get an easy upper hand here. Only a 2 count. We almost had a new lightweight champion of ECW. Ladies and gentlemen, Neville off the ropes with the bicycle kick. This is definitely gonna be a good matchup between two cruiserweight ranks, I guess. For this one, Jericho here is gonna be the cruiserweight rank, because I see this is like his Lionheart, Chris Jericho, the ECW style stuff. So yes, Jericho, well, perhaps trying to go for a suplex. Neville was able to reverse that one. Neville now with the brass knuckles. He gets sent flying off the ropes. Jericho now has Neville set up here. Drop kick connects to Adrian Neville. Jericho now with the brass knuckles hits Neville across the face. Was going to throw it out of the way. Perhaps thought Neville was going to fall down after that. But no, drop kick. Bicycle kick. And now Jericho close to falling off. And he does through the table. Very precarious positioning for Chris Jericho. And Neville shooting star press onto Jericho. That was beautiful, but it's like Jericho didn't even feel it hurt Karana. This matchup is definitely going to be difficult to try and keep up with at this point. Both of these two men, very athletic, very talented wrestlers here on ECW. Of course, they shown Raw and SmackDown. They have their fair shares of good superstars as well. To be fair, if we had to pick the best brand, definitely SmackDown, and if we had to pick the worst brand, it's either Raw or ECW. Let's be honest. Raw or ECW, they're like somewhat all over the place. ECW is now the original with all the ideas for matches, I guess, sometimes. And for Raw, the Raw roster is just a little difficult to keep up with sometimes. SmackDown, on the other hand, it's kind of just there, and it's pretty actually and enjoyable for me to do it. So yeah. And NXT is quick. NXT doesn't even have to pass the 15-minute mark for me to feel like it's an actual show, because it's just good. And now, and I was talking about Universe mode there, but Jericho with the Bulldog there. And Chris waiting for Neville to get back up. Neville trying to fight back here with a couple of strikes. Jericho takes him down by Slam, and Neville just bounced off something. I didn't get a chance to actually see what it was, to be fair, I'm not gonna lie. But now Jericho, only a 2 count there. Neville not too happy about that. Adrian Neville, of course, very resilient, so he's not going to give up easily. He did successfully defend the lightweight championship of his at the Sin ECW exclusive pay-per-view back in like week 15, I believe. Week 13, I don't know. Well, back a couple weeks ago. A long time ago, really. Successfully defended against Shane Douglas. In a somewhat quick matchup, but short, sweet, simple German suplex by Neville with the lead pipe there, and only a 2 count. Chris Jericho, of course, is going to take more than that to keep Jericho down, and bicycle kick off the perhaps distraction of the lead pipe. Jericho somewhat dodged it, or Neville just missed the lead pipe connection. Jericho now with the steel chair throws into Neville, and then Neville gets sent flying off the clothesline, and well, this match just kicked up a pace or two. Because now Chris Jericho non-stop speed here. Neville, both of these men reversing each other's moves so fluently, I guess. Neville now with the steel chair right to the back of Jericho. Of course, the ECW equals no disqualification. Extreme Championship Wrestling, no disqualification matches. Hardcore matches all the time for every matchup. And now, well, Jericho, moonsault or lion salt, whichever one you want to say, with the chair. Can that one be it? Only a 2 count. He connected it with the chair though. And Neville, once again, proving the point that he's very resilient. Brainbuster onto the steel steps as well. And now Neville, he's had enough. Trying to set up the steel chair and something like that. Along with the steel steps, Neville not able to perfectly apply the chair with the steps. And now Jericho, he sees what Neville's trying to do perhaps. And now Neville gonna have to go back to the drawing board. Gonna have to try and reset the spot here. Or improvise, takes down Jericho. But Jericho now with the dropkick. This matchup very fast paced here. It's getting a little difficult to do this, I guess. Side Russian leg sweep by Adrian Neville. And now the lead pipe. The lightweight champion looking to stay the lightweight champion of ECW. The first ever lightweight champion. Of course, the lightweight championship debuted back in week 8. And well, Neville, the first ever champion, and he still is the lightweight champion of ECW. He's the first ever one, and he still has it from week 8 all the way to now currently in week 20. But all that could change after 3 months, because Ray, if you add in, well, not all months, have 4 weeks. But there. Stay with me here. Oh no. Now with the dropkick. Off ropes he goes. Okay, thinking someone else here. Never mind. Takes out Hurricane counter by Jericho. Just reversed it midway. Neville gonna have to improvise once again. Jericho, he is figuring out now. Well, he is figuring out Adrian Neville's moveset here for what Neville's trying to do. Perhaps trying to set up someone with the steel steps and steel chair earlier, in which Neville had improvised and just throw himself at Jericho. And now Chris shoves down Neville. Chris Jericho here is busted open, uses the camera. Just taunting Neville there. Perhaps was going to hit him with a Bridges suplex. Can this one be it here? Only a 2 count for the lightweight champion of ECW, Adrian Neville. What a matchup so far. Right now Jericho off the ropes. Waiting for Neville to get back up here. Jericho improvising. Takes him down with a crossbody into a pin. 1, 2. And only a 2 count. We almost had a new lightweight champion right there, ladies and gentlemen. And Hurricane by Neville. Takes down Chris Jericho and a Bulldog, just for good measure to follow it up. And ladies and gentlemen, Chris Jericho, if I would have to guess, he's probably busted open just a tad bit more now. Neville sets the bell right next to Jericho's head. Neville perhaps was going to do the red arrow. His finishing maneuver, his best maneuver. Onto Jericho perhaps. With the bell right next to Jericho's busted up head. And yep, ladies and gentlemen, I am correct. Jericho, he is busted open. Not just a tad bit more, a whole lot more. And powerbomb Bridget suplex. That's what Neville usually does to set up for the red arrow against his opponents. But Jericho, he's teetering. He's back to his feet already. Jericho not gonna die. Chris Jericho will not die in this matchup. And now with the camera, he's just trying to hit Neville correctly across the head with it. Not able to only got a part of his leg midway when Neville also connected with the dropkick. Missile dropkick moments ago. And now hit with the bell. My goodness. The blood just pouring all over out the mouth of Jericho. Red arrow. Neville has brought up a whole new level of extreme out of himself. And could this one be only a 2 count? Jericho's back up already. Neville, he's had enough. Calling for the end here. Another red arrow perhaps. Power bomb into a Bridget suplex. Neville once again, perhaps into the thumbtacks, barely connects with it. Into the pin. 1, 2, only a 2 count. Neville didn't even want to go for the red arrow that time. He's already connected with it on Jericho after just hitting the bell across Jericho's head. Jericho, the mouth just profusely bleeding. Blood just coming out of Jericho's mouth like a faucet after the bell shot. And Jericho just taunted Neville. Ladies and gentlemen, Jericho not going to give up. Neville's not going to give up. Neville, the young rookie here in Numerous Mode, trying to find a way to retain his championship against Chris Jericho. Jericho now misses the dropkick. Now just sidestepped that one. Now saw the one coming a mile away. Jericho now. Well, he has him up here. Takes him now with a snap suplex onto the padding on the outside. Luckily enough for Neville, it was onto the concrete. Clothesline by Jericho. Charging up these clotheslines. A second one, and he connects with that one as well. Now Jericho looking for a steel chair here on the outside. And he's lit on fire, ladies and gentlemen. The chair is now on fire. One good headshot with the chair and saw it done, but no. Not gonna let that happen. Moonsault. Or just a shooting star press pressing Jericho up against the flaming table. Both of these men choreographed each other perfectly with the in stereo drop kicks. Both of them missing each other. And Neville, what's he thinking of here? Perhaps was thinking of something from jumping off the top rope. Perhaps a shooting star press onto Jericho. But Jericho, what a headshot with the chair. And Chris has found an equalizer now against Neville. Neville, he's been faster. Oh my goodness. Neville's neck just falling to the outside. Unprotected, well, protective padding or not, that still hurts. Once again, Neville must be very lucky that, or at least must be grateful that it hasn't been on the concrete. That nasty fall was not on concrete. Lion tamer by Jericho. Wearing down now, but this one, can it be fully applied to the walls of Jericho? It is not the walls of Jericho, it's the lion tamer. But ladies and gentlemen, that could also get the job done for Jericho. Just a slight variation off of the Boston Crab. And, well, both these men hitting each other midway through their respective moves. Jericho with a crossbody. And Chris has now turned the tables. And that's probably Abyss's thumbtacks. Abyss, of course, one half of the ECW Tag Team Champions, and hit with the thumbtacks. Jericho now with the camera taunting Neville. Neville, he's now looking like what Jericho did earlier on in the matchup. And that's in a very bad position as steered there. Jericho hit across the head of the camera, finally able to connect with it. And now Jericho calls for it. Code breaker. Knees and the camera to the face of Neville. Ladies and gentlemen, can Neville kick out? No. Chris Jericho delivers the finishing blow, the final touch to the matchup, the code breaker. After taunting a weakened Neville with the camera, Chris Jericho is the new lightweight champion of ECW. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all she wrote for Neville, and we have finally got a new lightweight champion of the ECW roster. Congratulations to Jericho. That was a hell of a matchup. One hell of a matchup. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Week 20 edition and the go-home show of ECW before SummerSlam. Now we go and head on into SmackDown Week 20. But before we go and do that, might as well mention the ECW side of things for the SummerSlam cards. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, ECW's side of the SummerSlam pay-per-view. And ladies and gentlemen, in the SummerSlam pre-show, these two tag titles will be defended as Matt Morgan and Abyss. They once again renew a Week 1 matchup as they take on Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. They defend their titles against Rowan and Harper. Finn Balor and Corey Graves look to finally end off their rivalry, and they look to end it off at SummerSlam. Who will get the last laugh after weeks and weeks of this whole rivalry? It shall finally end at SummerSlam. The Hardcore Championship will be defended as Wade Barrett, the number one contender, he takes on the Cleaner, Kenny Omega. Will Omega finally lose the championship, or will the Cleaner stay champion? And the rematch from the Sin pay-per-view, Braun Strowman looks to seek revenge as he looks to become the ECW champion. He faced off against Minoru Suzuki, and that will be ECW's main event for SummerSlam. Suzuki, the only man to ever defeat Braun Strowman, or the first one at least. So, Strowman, his rematch clause. Strowman uses his rematch clause, and so he uses it against Suzuki at SummerSlam. That is ECW's main event for SummerSlam, along with the whole pay-per-view poster that you guys just saw moments ago. So there you go. Thank you all for watching the go-home show of ECW, the final show of ECW before the SummerSlam pay-per-view. I'll catch you all in the next one, and goodbye.